Today, Tuesday, day 5, I will visit the Lake Neuchatel region.
Arriving in Yverdon-les-Baines. Travel time 1 hour 37 minutes.
Yverdon-les-Baines is located in the center of French-speaking Switzerland, surrounded by the summits of the Jura Mountains and the hills of the Broye on the eastern shores of Lake Neuchatel. Yverdon-les-Baines has been a center of trade and culture since Roman times. It gets its name, Les Bains, from the hot thermal springs which bubble up from deep within the rocks and were thought to have curative powers. Even today, you can visit the thermal spas in the area. If you follow the shoreline out of town, you'll eventually come to a park a couple of kilometers outside of Yverdon. And if you ask the right people the right questions, you may find the Clen D Stones. The Clen D Stones are a megalithic alignment similar to those found in Karnak, France and Stonehenge. Their exact purpose is a mystery, but they are believed to have been used for cult and religious functions and may have marked astronomical events such as solstice sunrises and sunsets. Peter II of Savoy gradually extended his rule over the region in the 13th century and built the castle seen today in the center of town. The city of Neuchatel on the northwestern shore of the lake lies below the ridges of the Jura Range. It gets its name from the new castle, built in 1011. The new castle was built as a stronghold of Burgundian rule in the early part of the last millennium. Many of the 17th and 18th century buildings are made from the local yellow sandstone. Alexandre Dumas described Neuchatel as looking like a toy town carved out of butter. Despite its advanced years, Neuchatel is a university town and has a progressive, vibrant air. Neuchatel is the home of absinthe. It is in the countryside around Neuchatel that the best absinthe in the world is distilled, openly now since the ban was lifted in 2005. Le Feu Vert is the legendary green fairy, favored drink of the Bohemian poet and artist. It was Neuchatel absinthe that the Dadaists sipped in the Cabaret Voltaire in Zurich as the Great War raged around them. In the 18th century, master watchmaker Pierre Jacquet-Droz built 3 mechanical dolls which became a sensation in Europe. They can still be found in the town museum and are fully functional over 2 centuries after their construction. The writer, the draftsman, and the musician performed delicate feats of magic. On the day of my visit, the draftsman was in for repair, and only the museum film displayed their robotic skills. Just outside of town, you'll find the splendid Archaeological Museum and Park called l'Athenaeum. Here you can travel back through tens of thousands of years of human settlement in the Lake Neuchatel region. People have been living in the caves around the lakes of Switzerland for over 100,000 years. As the glaciers of the last ice age retreated 12,000 years ago, tribes of hunters wandered the shores and forests around Lake Neuchatel. Population grew, and semi-permanent and later permanent villages of pile houses dotted the lake. The people hunted and fished and raised cattle and farmed. The houses were built on the edge of the water to conserve farmland. The La Tène culture was an early Iron Age culture named after the archaeological site of La Tène, close to where the La Tène Museum is located. It was here that a rich trove of tools, weapons, and artwork was discovered in 1857. The Tène culture spread and flourished all over Western Europe from 450 BC to the coming of Caesar in the 1st century BC. The Helvetii were a Celtic tribe who lived in the Swiss plateau area at that time. In 58 BC, under pressure from Germanic tribes to the north, they attempted to migrate westward. They destroyed their settlements and fields so they could not return. Julius Caesar stopped them and crushed them in battle and sent them back to their ruined land, to be used as a buffer between Rome and the Germanic horde. Rome pushed through Switzerland to the Rhine, and the northern border of Switzerland became the frontier of the Roman Empire. Under the Pax Romana, trade and culture flourished, and Roman towns and lakeside villas dotted the region. Switzerland became totally Romanized. Lake Neuchatel and Lake Geneva were key trade and transportation routes from the Mediterranean to the rest of Europe. As the Roman Empire declined and finally collapsed in the 5th century, migrating Germanic tribes overran the area, and Switzerland and the rest of Europe declined into a long era of stagnation and decline. Yet the people of the lakes continued to build boats and fish.